takes it to the next level.
What are you trying to say, Joe? Come on, I'll turn it down so we can hear your absolutely amazing patter. Come on, Joe, what are you saying?
I have never heard of a song that merged Smells Like Teen Spirit with the 1984 Ray Parker Jr. Ghostbusters theme song.
Talking of Ghostbusters, I don't know about Ghostbusters, right? In fact, I definitely know it's nothing to do with the Ghostbusters, but how about the Cone Busters? You like
the Cone Busters?
Come on, dude. You love that. I had to do it, man. I had to do it. How you doing, guys? How you doing? Yes, I'll move that out of the way. Done. Boom. There we go.
Lovely, lovely.
Yes, we're here. We're live.
Lovely.
You like the cones, boys? I know you didn't consent to the new
consent to it at all.
And yet, you know, and yet, this is the whole thing, isn't it? Nobody's looking for consent from cones anymore. That's the whole problem, right?
No. And that's the thing. It's like the next version. Is it the next version of Me Too?
It's Cone 2. We have to be a voice for cones. I don't know if anyone's noticed, but cones don't talk. So we are going to be the advocates for the cones out there. But folks, we are here for another crazy weekend. And Ange, the brains in Joe's operation, has come up with a crazy, cool new name for it. Saturday Shenanigans. I like it.
Yes, very nice.
Yeah.
Plus,
how many names? How many
Freaky
brands?
Friday, Saturday Shenanigans. So what are we going to call Sunday?
I think it should just be Sunday Shenanigans.
Sunday.
I just think it should be Sunday Fun Day.
Sunday Fun Day. Sunday service. Sunday Fun Day. Yeah, liking that. So we've got a load of people streaming into the chat room, and man, oh man, women, oh women, it, oh it, they, he, she, whatever you are. We have got so many stories for you today because we're going to go and we're going to do some updates on one of the creepiest stories that I've seen in a long time. And I've still got people messaging me about the shadow dude, boys. Who was it that found that again? Was it Ange or was it you, Scott?
Yeah, Ange was perusing and found that King Frostmare site, and then went to the Ghost of Carmel, Maine site, and that's basically where the shadow dude resides. Is up in Carmel, Maine. So we'll be taking a little trip to Carmel, Maine, and seeing what's up with Shadow Dude, and also in Carmel, Maine, he had an encounter with a white lady. And I don't mean, I just don't mean any old white lady, you know what I'm saying? What I'm saying is a lady in white. And what does that mean? That means that it's a female entity, or one that represents itself as a female.
I was going to say, we don't know, it identifies an address.
Yeah, in that area, there's energy from an event where a woman was wronged in some way, or killed, or abused, or something like that happened. And that's the kind of lingering energy that manifests that kind of entity. Yeah.
Yeah, we have a white lady.
Oh yeah, ghost. You got a white lady? Come on now, baby.
We got a white lady up here in Topeka, North Topeka, at a Rochester Cemetery. They call her the albino woman. And supposedly back in the pioneer days.
Say it ain't so.
In the 1800s, well, she was born an albino, and they thought she was cursed by the devil or something, so they killed her and they burned her alive, I guess, in a pit, buried her.
Well, as long as there's not people getting like interned in walls and things tonight, like we had last night.
Definitely not good.
That was weird.
I do not want to ever be interned in a wall.
No, that's not the fate that I want to meet one. No. Although I wouldn't mind being like frozen or set in amber, like just in a pose. Like
you mean in a like you're already dead and they do that?
Yeah,
almost
man, that'd be kind of cool.
Taxidermy?
Yeah, get the taxidermist to put you in some kind of crazy cool pose. I think that'd be kind of cool, dude.
I could see that. Maybe they'll make you a sex robot.
At least I'd be literally stiff, right?
Yeah.
You see, you were thinking all sexual.
Unless it was for the other.
I'm talking about rigor mortis.
Unless it was for some other kind of cheeky action.
You could be interned in a giant traffic cone.
You could be.
Oh, that's right. Talk about cheeky action.
Yes, and just for the occasion, obviously, there we
Cheeky
go.
action at a distance. Oh my God, I can't believe you
Always
did that.
make sure it's consensual, folks. Don't just assume because it's an inanimate object just sitting there. You know, don't think
That's right.
Don't think
That's
that you'll
right.
get away with it.
They may not be, those cones out there. We often don't realize that those particles that make up those cones, they have feelings too.
Yeah.
Are those elongated skulls I see there?
Maybe indeed. Yeah.
Is Elon Gated the cousin of Elon Musk? Because we're going to be going to SpaceX live tonight as well, folks. We're going to. Is it the Goddard Space Center? Probably isn't, but it sounds cool, right?
Yeah.
That's NASA for a start. We're going to SpaceX
Well, hey, man,
command.
I mean, think about it. They've got the infrastructure already, and if there's one thing about Musk, he is masterful at getting the government money. He does. I mean, I don't care how it happens, he does it. Look at what he's done to that consortium, that space consortium of Lockheed Martin and whatever. He's just totally cut the legs out from underneath them with, he's brought down launching these satellites into space where it's over $2 billion for the space consortium to do it or whatever, I think it is. And he does it for $900 million, and they reuse the rocket. I mean, it's unbelievable.
That reusing the
totally
rocket
changed the game.
Yeah, that reusing the rocket, Joe, that's totally revolutionized this. It's a different thing. Space travel now is a different animal than it used to be. It truly is. And that's good because more and more people can access it then. And I know when you look at Virgin Galactic, they're talking about, what, $250,000 for a 10-minute flight in near-Earth orbit, something like that. It's not for your common man or woman, my point being. However, when you've got reusable rockets and the start of this space age, I really look at now as being the start of the space age, with it stalling and everything else after that.
Look at what it took. Look at what it took, honestly. When you had the space race to the moon, you kind of the purchasing power of the government because only the government could afford to do that at that time. Because you didn't really have the mega corporations or the mega billionaires, that vast chasm of wealth. Because, during World War II, the income tax rate spiked big time because the United States was basically insolvent. 50s to recover from that. The top tax rate was 90% or 91%. It was crazy high. So that chasm between the haves and have-nots shrank like a son of a gun. So by the time the 60s come around, you don't have anybody per se with the vast wealth necessary for a private endeavor to go to the moon, nor was there any sort of really thought process in place yet for that. So it was really only the government that could do that in a short period of time. But after Apollo, we had the space shuttle, but that was late 60s, early 70s technology that then took 10 years to mature until finally Columbia launches around 1980. And they used that for 20 years, which, for some of us, that's the blink of an eye. Because I remember when Columbia launched, I watched it on TV.
Yep.
And I remember when the last shuttle launch happened. And to me, it was kind of like the blink of an eye, but it's just because I witnessed the beginning and the end. And it typically, you're like, wow, that just happened.
And another thing that has to be pointed out about this is you're also dealing with government bureaucracy and how slow things, you're able to get things done when you're having to go through government red tape and all of this stuff. Whereas a private company they just cut through all that,
because there's a driver. The driver's profit, right? Whereas government is not. Government doesn't make money. So the way government works is you are authorized each year when the Congress approves of to get X amount of dollars to do X amount of things, and that has a finite amount of money that you don't want to have anything left come the end of the next fiscal year, because guess what? If you do, then they're going to scale your money back. So that's why it is in the thought process of all of your civil servants to burn, 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 and there's no profit. It's just we spend until the money's gone. So private industry is, no, you don't do that. We're cost conscious. We utilize all of the latest type of techniques and management skills to bring about efficiencies that you just don't have in government. It just doesn't happen because there's no real incentive. And the only incentive with government is job security. At the end of the day, that's the only incentive. And the fact that there's really not that much competition. So as you can rapidly advance in the private sector if you're shit hot, in the public sector, you could be shit hot all you want. If there's not a billet open, that's number one. And number two, you better be political and be able to do things that are not, you got to be cutthroat. And and
you know what I think
a lot of people can't do that, nor do they have the drive. So private industry, you can advance these things much faster because it's in their best interest to do so, to get ahead of their competition. And that's why you're having this rapid advancement now with especially with SpaceX. What a great example. I can't really look at Blue Origin or look at Virgin Atlantic or Virgin Galactic and say, wow, these guys are knocking my socks off as far as advancing technologies. They're really not. But we've been able to see SpaceX throughout its evolution because from the get-go, it's been kind of a public-private partnership with Musk, SpaceX, and the government. So he's kind of piggybacked NASA to get the funding he needs to advance things faster.
And everyone's
private sector mentality.
Yeah, and everyone's chasing SpaceX.
That's right.
Blue Origin and Virgin Galactic and all that stuff. They're trying to keep up with Musk. So they're always like one step behind, but it's really SpaceX and that they're the ones leading. They're like they're the tip of the spear when it comes to the spear. Yeah, they're the tip of the spear when it comes to
1776 at Goddard.
Well, do you think I know what would get government working, right? Shadow dudes. If we could launch shadow dudes at Congress and into the Senate and things, that would get things moving, right? Would it not?
No, they did. They put monkeys on board the rockets first before humans, right? But what if instead of monkeys, because monkeys' lives matter, #, we can
a Congress is the name for a group of baboons. It literally is.
So you're saying throw Shadow Dude in there to give him a little motivation to straighten out?
Listen, I'll get it here, right? Congress meaning, just in case people think I'm absolutely mad. It's not going to have it here now, is it? No. The Congress. Hang on, monkeys.
Not the Congress.
What do you call a gathering of baboons? Oh no! Did I get caught by fake news?
You did. See, look, I can't take you anywhere. Look at.
Well, I can't promise you.
I don't like Congress any more than you do, but they're not baboons. Do not insult baboons.
I was going to say, don't. I know that's poor baboons.
Or did they change the definition?
Have they Mandela'd me?
They Mandela.
I would like to say that, Scott. I would like to say that because that way I'll feel better. But
you got income.
Incoming.
Woo.
Yeah. Here it comes. That is so cool. It's worth donating to see
Scott
that.
Kevin's Joe, thumbs up.
Awesome.
Thank you.
Awesome.
Thank you, Beer.
Thank you.
Mr. Beer, yes. So will we get into some of the spooky stuff then, guys? Because I was choking to get into this last night, but because we were on radio, it didn't feel right. I know we were on YouTube simulcasting, but it wasn't fair on people just listening on the radio when we were watching things that you need to see. And we're going back to touch on the story that has touched a lot of people out there. Turn down the lights. Oh,
Holy
I know.
moly, man.
Yeah.
This is it.
Jill.
Bring it.
I think it's JP in there. Tristan. There's a few people. I don't even think there's a few people didn't even hear it or didn't see it. But it was that good a show when we done this last time that they heard about it. So we're going to get into what I think is a comical name, but at the same time petrifying because I've seen it. The Shadow Dude. And we're going to this channel here, and I want people to show some love for this channel. I'm going to drop the link in the chat room. He's called King Frostmare, and you can go to his kingdom, and you can watch as much woo as you can handle.
I tell you what, that guy live streams all the time.
Well, I got him. I got him. Yes, yours truly. Seen he was live streaming after Freaky Friday last night. So I jumped in there. And I thought to myself, I'm going to try and reach out to him again. Maybe we can like get him on. Maybe we can get some of his material. And he noticed me speaking to him in the chat. He says, "We'll keep in touch. We'll see what's happening." So hopefully, at the very least, you know, we'll get permission to play a few more of his videos. But I want all of you out there. He's got 30,000 subs. Go and hit sub on this channel, because if you like the woo,
I mean, if anything, it is good stuff. It's good woo.
It really is. It's not. I mean, it's from all around the world.
All
People
around the
obviously
world.
submit it to him. He goes and finds it. So this is the update. So Scott, was it your mum that gave you this, or was it?
It was my mom. She sent me she said that there's an update to the Shadow Dude, and I was like, oh, okay. So I haven't had a chance to see this yet. I don't think any of us have had a chance to see this yet.
I've not seen it. No.
Very nice. No, we haven't.
Yeah.
Yeah, we're gonna get a nice raw reaction here from everybody. So.
Oh, it's not good. If you haven't seen the Shadow Dude the last time, get ready. Just get ready. Here we go.
Guys, say something or do something. Oh my god!
Whoa. Right, whoa. We need to go back and slow that down a bit. Whoa. We'll go about here. I mean, I take it everyone's seen that the first time round.
I love that, man. That is classic Shadow Dude.
Yeah, exactly. So where's the
Just
speed?
like all of a sudden, poof, there he is. Oh.
It's coming. It's coming.
Guys, say something or do
Look at that.
There he is, right by the window, by the portal.
Well, Joe,
Ooh.
tell the listeners about that, the viewers about that, because that's what you were really pressing on the last time.
All of the major sightings of Shadow Dude, especially like in that form, and then all of his footage, this really good footage of it, is right by that window. And it seems like that window is the entry point and exit point for Shadow Dude in and out of that house, or in and out of this reality, basically. So I don't know. I don't know as far as the videos that we played last week were just unfreaking believable.
Well,
that was the most detail I have ever seen of any sort of
ever dude.
Entity like that.
That was like you've seen the lot, and not only that, you've seen it morphing on its way out the portal.
Exactly, man. It is not that. If anything out there, folks, gives you any sort of, if that breaks your idea that we came from Campbell's soup, that should be it. That the 150 million year myth and all this baloney, and right there.
We're only just getting going, and already the chat are loving this one. So let's dive deeper into. Is this the name of his house, Joe? The guy that lives there?
That's that's his name is Lamb, Ken Lamb.
Hello guys, due to the highly positive response and the many messages that I have received, I consulted with Kent to let him know that we will take another look at the unexplainable events that are taking place in his house. If you haven't seen part 1 of this series, click the link in the top right corner to...
And folks, please, If you didn't see this last time, go and check it out.
Jesus.
Go and check it out, honestly.
That's it there. Where you got it paused, remember, that's it in the window.
Yep. This
So
here
that's
is your
it
portal.
in the window. It doesn't really have a form, but watch very slowly, folks. You'll see it go out of the window and in under the bed. It'll crawl.
The possibly best
Lord.
otherworldly
There it
evidence
is.
ever captured.
Look at it. Look at it. There it goes. See you later.
Tonight is a special night
honest to
because
God, Kev, I would shit my pants like you wouldn't believe. It would be in my shoes. It would be everywhere.
Yeah, it would be
And
good.
I mean, it's happened here before, but it hasn't been as stark and as vivid as that. Not to me. To Ange and my daughters, it has, but not to me.
For me, this goes beyond the shadow, dude. I mean, this is like proper order.
he expects a visit from another YouTuber who he calls Adam. Kent has an open door policy and allows skeptics and other curious people to visit him and to see for themselves.
And that is huge. That is absolutely huge, folks. It'd be one thing if this guy was putting these videos out and we were left guessing and nobody was allowed into the property. But the fact that he's comfortable enough and confident enough to say, yeah, come on in.
By.
That's
The open and shut case, Kev.
yeah. Lads, I was convinced last week, but this is just, I mean, another layer of credibility to it. And of course, can't be naive. I mean, the people he invites could be stooges. I get that. I get it. But I don't get that feeling from this at all. Not at all.
That everything
My goal
happening
is in the next 6 months, Ange and I are going to go up there and check it out.
You have to, Joe. You have to, for research purposes, for the
For
stream.
research purposes and for not for clickbait. Us, we would never do anything like that.
Exactly.
in the Lamb House is in fact real. It's been a regular Friday so far, and Kent is telling the viewers about the blackout walkthrough he had planned at night, which takes place at this residence. He makes his way up into his bedroom to make sure that even all the potential spirits are aware of what's going to happen this night.
I'm uploading a YouTube video now. Adam's coming over tonight. We're going to do a complete walkthrough. Hope you guys say something or do something. Oh my God!
Oh, what? What? Hang on. Dang, dude.
We're going to do a complete walkthrough. Hope you guys say something or do something. Oh my God! No! Oh.
What do you do when you see that in your room?
Like I said, I would be like squish, 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 squish as I'm walking with my shoes full of poo.
And, you know, speaking to Bill Bean, the places he goes now, you're getting a more intense thing happening.
Yeah.
And I wouldn't be surprised. Bill's talked about almost seeing people's faces changing recently. I'm thinking within the next couple of months, we're going to hear about him seeing one of these things. Physical form. You know, like...
You think so?
This is like a different phase on from ectoplasm and all the rest of it. And again, I can't call this shadow, dude. What about you, Scott? I don't know. There's something more ominous about this. I don't know.
It's definitely... Well, first of all, I got to say, the footage... You know, I try looking at the footage and I try to point out, see if I can find anything that would suggest, a possible hoax or anything. And I'm really not seeing anything. I mean, the way, the camera movement, the blur of the camera as it's moving, it matches, it doesn't look like anything is overlaid at all to me, So the only other option would be practical effects, and I don't think that this guy has a whole bunch of practical effects set up in his house, because if he's inviting people over, they would be able to see that he's got practical effects and everything set up. So yeah, to me so far, this looks extremely legit to me. And man, boy, can you imagine if Bill Bean went to that house? I'm gonna
show Bill Bean this video to get his take on it, see if he's seen anything similar to this.
Look at that.
See how frame by frame, it totally matches the movement of the camera and everything, frame by frame. It's very hard if you're doing CGI and you're trying to blend it into camera movement like that. It's very hard to do that because you have to try to match the subtle movement of the blur, the motion blur, and all that. It's just really hard, So I don't think it's CGI. I really don't.
I don't get that feeling.
No.
Look how Shadow Dude is leaning in on the bed. I almost find it a bit offensive. It's as if he is telling Kent, well, I'm ready. Bring it on.
Kent, bring it. I love that. That's exactly what I thought too. It's like, look at, there he is, just kind of leaning. Kent, what do you want, Kent?
And I know people are going to say, that somebody's been under the bed or they've been somewhere else, and I can't definitively rule that out, but I don't get that sense from this dude. And why would you bring somebody in? Why would you allow people in? Why would you have the open house policy,
No. Shadow Dude is for Rizzle, man. Ain't no doubt.
Can't say to that.
Holy crap and crap.
Holy crap.
Adam arrives a bit later that night, and they both split up to investigate the lamb house even.
See, if you had practical, props and things, you wouldn't let him go himself. No. There's no way you would lead him on a guided tour. You would show him what you want to see, right? Again, it could be a stooge. I'm not discounting that, but I don't feel it.
Further.
I wouldn't be sitting here playing it if I thought the guy was at it, to be honest with you.
No. Like I said, we'll go up there and do it if we have.
In the living room, while Adam stays upstairs with a ghost box. It's in the living room where Kent notices a dark shadow standing pretty close and staring at him.
Whoa.
Oh.
You see that?
Uh-huh.
I sure did. There it is.
So how could the dude couldn't just set that up?
No.
Nah.
Looking at this being, for me it's clear that this can't be the same figure that we had seen in the bedroom upstairs. It's a slender and tall silhouette of what appears to be another person. What do you think? After this, Kent now makes it into the basement to investigate for unnatural activity, and it doesn't take long until he captures a clear voice, which seems to be stemming from one of the dark corners.
I don't think we're going to get anything with this on.
What the... Well, there might be something else you can see there. What is that?
What is important at this point is the fact that Kent states clearly that the following image looks like an unknown figure. First I thought it's just a pole in the basement with some paper on it. But apparently I was wrong. Besides, who else thinks that the following noises sound like a cry for help?
With this on.
Is it from the being that Kent captured just moments earlier? Maybe it's something else. Hey guys, if you wish to support...
Whoa, now that's pretty whacked out, man.
That bright figure, that more lighted up figure, that was more kind of like a ectoplasm sort of apparition.
Well, you remember in one of his earlier videos. Remember in the window when he was looking in the window, Shadow Dude was looking in the window, and it looked like an ectoplasmic type of. Yeah, and that may not have been the same entity either. Could have been a different entity. That's why I think that his house or that area is just an area of high energy that ends up being a portal for these entities to kind of transit the dimensions or transit realities. That's kind of my take on it. I don't know.
You know what it is? You know what it is?
What?
This is just your stereotypical, brilliant example of a haunted house.
Well, yeah.
Like you say, portal, it's some kind of gateway, doorway.
Some kind of energy is there, Something happened there, whether
Joe,
it be...
we looked at the history last time, right? And he came up with a wee... I don't know how we can ever tell who the shadow person was when they were alive, but do we know anything more about the history of that area? I mean, it's not far from you. I mean, Native Americans, have we got any, like, burial? Is it famous for anything at all off the top of your head?
It was a place that manufactured caskets. So, and it was a farmhouse as well. So it's a 19th century building. And it's got probably a lot of memories. Now, as far as it being a former person that was alive, I don't think so. I don't think
that's one of these things you could never test. There's absolutely no way. And even if you were to communicate with this thing, you can't trust what it's saying.
No, but I do believe that it's there because of the energy that exists in that area. Or like I said, it just could be one of those places where they're able to transit.
Yeah, that's what I think.
Just
unfortunately, it happens to be in the middle of it.
And Shadow Dude's probably just like a frequent traveler.
Very.
Maybe Kent's bedroom is like the frequent flyer lounge.
Maybe he just wants a shot of the laptop to get on YouTube. Maybe he's missing the Kev Baker show.
Go there, smoke a stogie and get on folks, YouTube.
Remember, show King Frostmare some love.
Yeah,
Sub to the channel. We're not going to watch the whole video.
Great woo.
Yeah, but we'll watch the next bit because from what I've seen from the little screenshots there, it looks like this gets terribly, horrendously scary.
I would have swore I just heard something say, "Get out in my ear."
Whoa.
There he was. Did you see him?
Whoa, hang on now.
Wow, there he is. Look at that. Wow, look at that right there. Bam. That's Shadow Dude.
That's the Shadow Dude. It does look like somebody in a hoodie.
Wow.
See how it morphs towards the end?
And that greenish light
I don't
coming
think
back.
that the silhouette belongs to Shadow Dude, though. This particular shape appears to be taller, and one could think it's wearing a hood of some sort.
Oh, definite. Definitely got a hood on.
Could this belong to another apparition? A child, perhaps?
Wow.
Hard to tell.
It is hard to tell.
But it's that same hue, color as the other light.
Yeah.
Now, I will say something though. Come back here. That pipe that's coming out of there could have produced that thing we've seen before.
Yeah.
It's possible.
Could be.
Possible.
You mean like a reflection off the copper?
Yeah. And the guy said himself he thought at first it was a pipe. Know what I mean? But I'm in no way debunking the Shadow Dude, boys. I'm just...
No, not at all.
No.
Yeah, but see, that looks small.
But it does. Like, Shadow Dude is short.
That one with the hoodie didn't look short.
That one with the hoodie looked a lot taller. But that looks a lot like Shadow Dude. Kind of like just that roundish kind of head and no definition in the body, just kind of like shoulders, and that's it.
Look how the lens flare comes near it again.
Yeah.
After capturing another shadow, Kent realizes that something else has been left behind for him in this basement.
What the was that? Who wrote that?
What? That?
No, that's never been there. You know how many times I've been down here videotaping?
Check on the other videotapes just to make sure.
Oh yeah, that definitely wasn't there.
What does it say, him?
Very curious.
It says hi with the smiley face.
No.
What?
Of course, we cannot confirm that this note hasn't been there before, and we just have to take Kent's word for it. But in this particular clip, Kent is absolutely sure that Shadow Dude once more is moving around in the upstairs bedroom.
I just got a picture of him right here.
And sure enough, the moment Kent pans his camera up to the bedroom window, we see somebody moving in there.
I think he's upstairs. It's the upstairs window where he jumps out of.
Was it really Shadow Dude?
I mean, you can see a dark mass moving around.
You can see something moving around. You certainly can. So, Joe, remind us, where is this place?
It's up in Maine. I'll try and send you the link as far as exactly where it is.
I don't know, man. I don't know. If I had that in my house, I'd be looking to move out. I don't think I'd make it the source of my YouTube content. I'd be gone. How can you live with that? That's got to mess you up if you're living with something like that 24/7, constantly.
Yeah.
Oh, seriously, though, that's got to really have a serious effect on you, right?
Yeah.
I mean, how comfortable can you be? I mean, Scott, how used to living with a
so
booger can you get?
It's, Carmel's not far from Bangor. So it's probably right in the middle of the state. And I'm going to give you the GPS coordinates for his house.
You know, Kev, though, I mean, maybe that's why he started documenting this. You know, in order to keep his sanity, you know, he's like, maybe I need to just start documenting this and recording this and putting this up. You know.
And he lives right at like a funky intersection. But
right, hang on, I'll close that down. I'll bring this over.
Right by Rick's Mini Mart. And of course, a Dollar General.
Of course.
Of course.
So this is the house here, yeah?
Yeah.
It looks haunted. Is it an old, like, colonial type kind of thing? Like, how old are we going back?
Yeah, and it like I said, it's been around. It's probably about, a couple hundred years old or so.
Dude, this place is steeped in it, man.
Yeah.
Yeah, big time.
So, but I'd say it's probably a good 6 to 8 hours from me. Probably 6 hours, but it doesn't matter.
Dang, dude. Dang. 6 hours would take me probably the length of the UK. I'm only joking.
Yeah, but I know. Well, don't. Hey.
But we've got another one, right? You sent one as well, Joe, right? The White Lady. Because we were talking about White Ladies last night on Freaky Friday.
That's right.
And Ange has got a White Lady association connection experience.
Yeah, she did. She's seen him firsthand, and she said that video I sent you, the article, she said it looks very similar to what she saw. What right here? Encounters of the Lady in White, the Wandering Ghost. She says looks just like it. It's kind of a long video, so I don't know where.
Yeah, exactly, dude.
Where you see it, but I mean, it's just because Kent. Gosh, I mean, it's such great footage. We could spend all day watching this stuff, folks, and you wouldn't get. That's the thing about Kent's channel. You can watch all these videos and you just binge watch them, and you don't get freaking bored with it.
That's what used to happen to me and Anne when we were into the paranormal shows.
Yeah.
You would watch one, and then you'd watch another, and before you know it, it'd be like 3, 4 in the morning, wouldn't it?
Yeah,
They're
yeah.
addicted.
But I mean,
And we
it's
also
like this guy.
we also got to point out that this guy, he's not only just documenting what's going on in his own house. It seems like that whole neighborhood that he lives on,
There's something
that
up with
whole
that little
area.
town.
Yeah.
Yeah, there's a lot of activity going on up there. So who knows what happened? You know, what that could be, if it's not like something that's gone and always been, you know, before America was there, before the Native Americans. It could have been there for quite some time. This portal, this energy. Matter of fact, I'd be interested to know if like some ley lines intersect there. I don't know.
Yeah, I was gonna say it's probably an area of a natural energy vortex.
Right.
You know, maybe back in the day, what if it was one of those forests that had like the center, you know what I mean, where nothing grows, and they just ended up building a town over it, not really realizing.
What if, Scott, they built the house around a random staircase that they found in the forest?
Oh.
You like that? That's creepy, right? I'd want to know that if I was buying a house, folks.
I think Stephen King lives up around there too.
Isn't that interesting? Isn't that interesting though? I find that quite interesting.
Yeah. I don't know where exactly in Maine he lives, but he lives in Maine.
I'll take a look at this. It's only 4 minutes. We'll try and take a look at this, see what it's all about. That's going to be writing, isn't it? That was disappointing. But yeah,
LOL.
Like you say though, this dude's kind of hardcore at it, right? He's been hammering it. He has.
You would have to be hardcore if you were living with Shadow, dude.
Yep.
And as much as you live with that, I don't think you ever get used to it. It's one of those things where I think you'll never be.
Okay, here we go. Right, Ghosts of Carmel, Flying Horse.
Okay, let's do this. Flying Horse.
What are we about to see? The following video is real. There's a horse up there. Up on the shelf.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. Yeah, there's nothing pushing it. No string.
Doesn't look, obviously.
No.
There it goes. Oh, damn, dude, I wouldn't be living anywhere near this house. You see, I like the idea of going ghost hunting.
That's the same room. That's the room.
Go back to normal speed. Looks like a small girl. Oh, I don't know. If I look at that long enough, the old pareidolia is going to kick in, and it'll look like whatever you tell me it's going to look like. So I'm not.
It almost looks like the computer screen reflection.
Yeah, it could be anything. It's not conclusive, but I tell you what, white ladies, shadow dudes. You're talking uber woo, boys. Uber woo.
Yeah. I mean, look, he's got enough actual stuff going on to where you get to the point where the shadows start looking like anything starts looking like that.
Yeah, shadow dude enough is enough to make me go, there's some crazy stuff going on in that area. Yeah.
Makes you wonder, like, because we were talking about how haunted parts of Scotland are. It does make you wonder if there's anyone living in the area or in Scotland or anywhere for that matter. There must be more than just Carmel, Maine, and your man's house, you know, Mr. Lamb there. Imagine people that are living with that and they don't quite appreciate what's going on. I mean, you look at Bill Bean again, his story growing up and how it took its toll on the family and things. And again, Joe, like we were talking about last night, it targeted Bill's sister. Young female energy again.
I can't believe it.
Yeah. I mean, that's a
But then again, I can. And the thing is I think it's happening much more often than we give it credit for. That's why I told you, I say it does because we personally have been experiencing an uptick in the activity, but I've actually, heard, or I'm seeing much more traffic, much more interest in this kind of activity. So I don't know. To me, it seems like there is an uptick, and a considerable one. And even like the Catholic Church and their exorcists are saying that their exorcisms are getting exponentially darker.
Well,
So
that goes along with what Bill's telling us as well. It's getting weirder. It's getting more intense. One of the last cases he talked about, he literally had a guy who had been telling spirits that he was going to sell his soul. And that ended up with one of the most horrendous kind of deliverances that Bill's been a part of.
See, that's what I'm saying. That's not a coincidence. And I think that's related to, I'll bet you, Kev, that our magnetic field, our shield, is shielding us from more than just cosmic rays.
And to add to that, the Schumann resonance changing might make it more hospitable to these other things.
Whatever's happening, as that change is occurring, so too is that the uptick, the intensity is changing. Maybe it is getting darker. Maybe that change in the resonance is promoting a darker type of existence.
And also, Kev,
don't know.
you know how you brought up the point of it. It feels like the planet's being terraformed for something.
Yeah.
What if this is actually prepping, like the opening, the opening of the veil, right? And so as opposed to the planet being terraformed for, say, like an alien presence, it's being terraformed for entities coming from another dimension or from another plane.
To be honest with you, Scott, when I talk about the terraforming, I think that more likely what you said there. Interdimensionals, as opposed to anything from another physical planet out there that we can travel to or anything. Big time. And, just because I don't do the shows with Anthony Patch anymore doesn't mean that I've stopped kind of keeping an open mind to the fact that what Scott's saying here could be very true. We're building these robots like we sometimes get into with Joe as well, about almost being the vehicles, like our bodies are the vehicles for our spirit.
Very much so.
It could well be that these things are going to be... And Joe, you could go really deep with this, and there's no way of proving it or disproving it.
Yeah.
But the thoughts, the ideas, the push to bring all this into being right now so rapidly, that exponential curve that we're on, where's that drive coming from, really? I mean, is it coming from the people making it, or are they being pushed knowingly or unknowingly to build this system out?
They're being pushed no different than we're being pushed in trying to do what we're supposed to do when we're supposed to do it. And there's always forces of good and evil that are trying to push you in one direction or another. And you have your free will, and you're trying to make that choice. And everybody does. And it's just where we all kind of fall in that story, in that plan,
Yeah, and then on top of that, the way society is being steered, right? The normalization of all of this like symbolism and occult stuff going on, being put, in everyone's face. We talk about that, like with the, the Super Bowl show or the Super Bowl.
Yeah, there's a lot of that. And what does that do?
The cultural programming and the normalizing of dark, of everything being like in this dark sort of mindset, right? And so you get the population focusing on that harnesses that energy, and that also allows these things to occur more often and more intensely, so
I agree, man. I tell you what, it does, it brings about I hate sounding like this because it sounds kind of wackadoodle, but
black pill.
It brings about a lower frequency, if you will, and that's what they like. They like to prey on that.
Yes.
It's the same difference of changing the scales that you use, say for guitar, and instead of using the solfeggio scale, you use A440 or something like that, and it puts it at a lower frequency and a non-healing frequency at that. So whereas solfeggio has been known to be a healing frequency, that healing vibration, you don't get that with A440. And it's just interesting how everything's been moved that way. Like Jesus walks the earth, right? And then soon after you have believers turn into these things called Christians, and then the Catholics, under Constantine, he creates Catholicism. Really, basically takes what Peter is believed to have been given by Jesus. Is like, hey man, you're the dude. Go out and be the dude. So Constantine hijacks that, and then he says, okay, well, how do we get the pagans? Because that's what I am. So how do we get the Christians and the pagans together to kind of go forward in this like one world type of religion? Oh, one world religion, you say? Well, yeah, because at that time, that's kind of what it was. See, Constantine had a coin. All these men in power, these emperors in Rome, are, they all have massive egos and have to have their head on their coins. And so there's Constantine on one side, and on the back he has Mithra, which is the sun god, Sol Invictus Mithra.
Who knew he had a racist haircut?
So yeah, absolutely. And at the same time, he has a bowl cut. So he's a racist at that. But he goes and integrates all of these pagan holidays and rituals into Christianity, if you will, and that's what you get. Catholicism is that. And then it bleeds over. It bleeds over into all of your breakaway
blue chickens.
Not that so kind much of breakaway. Blue chickens,
not
but
that kind of breakaway.
You've got the Baptists, you've got the Calvinists, you've got all these different, basically philosophies, if you will, of things. They all worship on Sundays. They're all sun god worshipers, really, and take all of that tradition with them. And it's just all this melting pot of different pagan beliefs with some, Christianity put in there too. But all of the critical teachings that were so important for people to understand were lost when that happened. And it wasn't by accident. It wasn't by accident. It was done so that they could control people much better and get them off the path as much as they possibly can. And that enabled them, as it does today, to be much more in control and much more funded, if you will. It creates a kind of like an engine of control, and I don't know. It's kind of hard to say. It's like a juggernaut.
He's pretty intelligent when he gets going, isn't he, Scott?
It is. It's just weird, I know. Isn't it great?
Yeah, it's pretty cool, Joe. I'm sitting here thinking,
so you kind of see how, but you kind of see how this happens and how it grows. Bernays did the same thing, only instead of using a religious power like the Catholic Church, he used the government, and then he used private industry, and he used that to control the masses. And it's just unbelievable how that came about. But it was all this. It was like the same blueprint.
You're a Bernese shell. You're a Bernesian shell.
Kev's, yeah. So the question is, where did they get the blueprint from? Because that blueprint, if you look back, you can see it being used time and time again. And instead of looking forward, look backwards, and you see it used earlier and earlier and earlier and earlier. But it's the same thing. And I ask, well, who's given it to these people? And how is it being executed and all this? And all I can think is, it's those nefarious imps that are doing the same thing today. They've been doing it since the dawn of time.
Well, they would have been, though, because if they are a real thing, I'm not saying I'm questioning it, but then inevitably they would have been here forever.
Right.
Right? I mean, it wasn't as if they turned up at like so many ages or days, like God's length a day after the creation. I mean, they would have just been here, right?
Yeah, absolutely. Well, here's the thing, right? So you have the fallen ones. Fallen ones do bad things. God condemns them. They're stuck. They're stuck here until the end of time, basically, until game over. So they're going to be doing what they're doing. That's the only. I really don't even know how to get into that. Not in any sort of short period of time. But they certainly do manifest themselves when they want to, and when you want them to. They'll do it.
Look, you see, folks. Listen. You see, when you say, "Oh, Kev, come on," you said you were starting at such a time and things like that. I want people to know SpaceX, they already put it back an hour earlier on. They were meant to kick off the same time as the Saturday shenanigans.
Yeah, it was supposed to be 8 o'clock.
Dude, it was all right.
And now it was 9.
Elon found out. He's seen it on Twitter. He's like, well, I can't be starting the same time as the KBS shenanigans. So I think maybe they're actually sitting watching the show right now. Maybe that's what it is. Maybe Elon's getting his freak on. He's getting some woo down on, man.
Yeah, man. Hey, you know what?
Can I mention, Kev, that fan art that you dropped in the Skype is absolutely fantastic.
Yeah. Do you mind if I bring that up? I think that's brilliant. We got this from a viewer called Gordon, and he was telling me a while ago he does a bit of art, so I said send it through. And we've obviously been talking a lot about the cones, the traffic cones. We all know that.
Yes.
So Gordon, he actually, just put this away here, he went to work because he added the cones and the new offensive haircut and came up with that.
I like it.
It actually looks like, and I'm not just being funny here, I think I've seen the Star Trek episode where that dude's turn up
I
on
was
the end.
just going to say that, dude.
There's a Starship.
There is.
They've got the same hairdo.
Yeah. Yep. In that same funky robe.
Yep. Yep, so folks...
definitely Gene Roddenberry's got his fingerprints all over it. I had no idea that they had bowl cuts, but I'll go with it.
The bowl cut works.
And I don't remember any traffic cones of might.
And of course, you've got us in our traffic cone outfits, which you can never get enough of. Always make sure it cone sense. Me too.
That's right.
Exactly. Yes. So have you got any more wisdom that you want to kind of share with us today, Joe?
Let me see here. What else do we have in the grab bag of wisdom?
Well, since we're going to be talking about space soon, I've seen a cool story today. This will trigger people as soon as I say it. But I've seen a cool story from NASA, funnily enough.
Oh, yes.
What do you make of this, guys? They're wanting to send nuclear rockets to the moon and Mars.
Why not?
When you get into it, they're actually going back to the original plan. Remember you were talking about Saturn V's before and things like that?
Yes.
Well, now they're talking about going back to this nuclear fission kind of propulsion system, and they say it dates back to the 60s. Just a couple of paragraphs. It says just north of the Tennessee River near Huntsville, Alabama, there's a 6-story rocket test stand in a small clearing of loblolly pines, trees. It's here in a secluded corner of NASA's Marshall Space Flight Center that the U.S. Army and NASA performed critical tests during the development of the Redstone rocket. Now, in 1958, this rocket became the first to detonate a nuclear weapon. 3 years later, it carried the first American into space. The tangled history of nukes and space is again resurfacing just up the road from the Redstone test stand. This time, NASA engineers want to create something deceptively simple, a rocket engine powered by nuclear fission. Yeah, so this is their new plan. And Trump, is Trump, like, I know he's got the Space Force, Space Corps. Has he got ambitions to go to Mars?
Well, look, I'll be quite honest with you. Let's look at this a couple of ways, right? So one of the things that the Bill and Melinda Gates Foundation has done. Did I go there? I did. That's right. One of the good things they've done is they've gone.
He's shilling for Bill.
I'm shilling for Bill and Melinda Gates. Yes.
Oh, wow, dude.
One of the good things they've done actually is trying to find alternative power sources for these small isolated communities in Africa and even in Asia. They wanted to find a way to make clean nuclear energy, or even here in the United States, upscale it, where it uses depleted uranium as the fuel. And it also uses the waste from this is actually the waste from, or the unusable uranium from the manufacture of the stuff for the fission reactors. So all of these
incoming. Keep going, Joe, but we've got incoming. I was warning you.
Okay, yeah. All of these cylinders of nuclear waste are just sitting, and they have nowhere to put it. So now you can build these reactors, which, by the way, they don't leak. They don't.
One, two, three, four. Teresa Wookie at the door. Ooga booga.
Whoa! Hey, has
Brian sings.
Has Brian been taking like a bit of speed? Has he been taking a bit of sulf?
Very nice. I like it.
Damn, Brian.
Yeah. So I don't know, dude. You know, you have all these things. You can make these reactors. You could make a case that they've probably advanced in technology since the 60s, and there's probably a updated way to utilize nuclear fission in these rockets, but I don't know. I don't like this idea of flying nuclear anything over our heads with millions of parts built by the lowest.
The poor astronauts got strapping astronauts to a nuke.
Isn't that what supposedly went wrong in Russia with one of those?
Yes, because they used them. Didn't they use them initially?
Yeah, that was that scientific town where one got blown into the ocean when it blew up. That wasn't that long ago, right?
That's right.
Yeah.
Yeah. It was when he had those two explosions. One was that munitions place, and then there was that rocket test that failed. And I think the rocket test, they said they were experimenting with nuclear propulsion. So, the Russians
exactly. So that's not good.
T-minus 5 seconds for SpaceX launch.
Fantiddlyastic.
All systems go. Check.
Thank you, Glasgow. We appreciate it.
A spaceport in Glasgow. There's definitely enough people wired to the moon in Glasgow to justify that. Definite, man. So what are they meant to be up? What's the announcement, Joe? Anyway, Starship update. I
think so. I think he's unveiling it tonight.
So say SpaceX.
My dad was telling me that they were. My dad was telling me that because he follows SpaceX a lot. He's really, really big into Elon and SpaceX. And
who isn't?
He was saying that they're going to unveil the Starship, and what they're gonna kind of show the design of it. And
I hope it looks better than the tin can that they had out there as a test platform.
That looked like something like the Jetsons, didn't it? It was bad, man. It's like something you drew as like a 5-year-old.
It looks like the skin was made out of Reynolds wrap.
It looked like a tinfoil rocket.
in all honesty, these things are built for functionality, not for looks. So if it does the job, it does the job. It's not really meant to look pretty, I guess. But
no, as long as it gets you to where it's meant to be going, right? So
Yep.
it's not started yet. It says here, yeah, Musk will present the company's latest design of its massive Starship spacecraft and super heavy launch system for trips to the moon, Mars, and beyond, and can watch it live. Musk will discuss SpaceX's Starship design at the company's Boca Chica test site, even a cool name for the test site, you know, where the company has completed assembly of the Starship Mark I, a prototype designed to launch on a 12-mile-high test flight later this year. Cool.
See.
Curvature
It's the
up there.
prototype.
Curvature
I hope
up
they
there,
put
folks.
I hope they put some of that foam on it or something on the outside to make it look a little more presentable.
I'm just saying.
I get what you're saying, Scotty, but damn. I mean, that thing looks like a freaking glorified tin can, which I guess if it's just a test flight, you know, are they? I wonder, are they putting astronauts in it? Probably not, right? I hope not.
It's like construction equipment. Construction equipment doesn't look pretty, but it's there for functionality. And
yeah, but
it does.
at least they put a nice paint job on it. Man, you look at those caterpillars when they roll off the assembly line; they look pretty damn nice.
You see, and people think I leave them waiting on my live stream. He isn't even playing any crappy porn music.
That's not fashionably late, man.
He's not playing it. He's not even got crappy porn music on, Joe. He doesn't know what he's doing here. Maybe he needs to give KBS the streaming job. We could be like Musk's official streamers.
People will wait for like 4 hours for Elon. He builds that much anticipation.
I sat like a pudding, waiting for the neural link, Scott. I think it was like something like 2.5 hours late. I was like, oh, come on. But you're right. I still sat there waiting. 5 more minutes. Just 5 more.
So let's get into this a little bit. It says a nuclear rocket engine would be twice as efficient as the chemical engines powered rockets today. But despite their conceptual simplicity, small-scale fission reactors are challenging to build and risky to operate because they produce what? Toxic waste.
Oh,
yeah.
Choking polar bears, you pesky rockets.
So space travel's dangerous enough without having to worry about a nuclear meltdown. But for human missions to the moon and Mars, NASA believes such risks may be necessary. That's right. Because, leaving the protective bubble that is our magnetic shield, that's not enough on the human body. No, let's add a fission reactor right through the tinfoil skin of this crappy starship that you have, just emanating radiation and hitting you with that kind of stuff, right? So that's great. But NASA says, oh, those risks, yeah, they may be necessary. So you're just going to get, you're going to have it's not a tumor. Yeah, it actually is. At the center of NASA's nuclear rocket program is Bill Emmerich, the man who literally wrote the book on nuclear propulsion. He says this, quote, "You can do chemical propulsion to Mars, but it's really hard. Going further than the moon is much better with nuclear propulsion." Emmerich has been researching the nuclear propulsion since the early 90s, but his work has taken on a sense of urgency as the Trump administration pushes NASA to put boots on the moon ASAP in preparation for a journey to Mars. Now, although you don't need a nuclear engine to get to the moon, duh, because we've done it before, it would be an invaluable testing ground for the technology, which will almost certainly be used on any crewed mission to Mars. Says, let's get one thing clear. A nuclear engine won't hoist a rocket into orbit. That's too risky. Duh. If a rocket with a hot nuclear reactor blew up on the launch pad, you could end up with a Chernobyl-style scale disaster. Instead, what do we got?
Got some cool dancing, man. Dude,
yeah.
Brian refused to say it because Brian's really good, eh? He caught the fact, yeah. Yeah, he refuses to say the word that rhymes with Willy Wonka. You like it? I like how I done that one, right?
That's very nice. I like that.
Yeah.
Okay, so let's get one thing clear. It says a nuclear engine won't hoist a rocket into orbit. That's too risky. Imagine if you had that kind of Chernobyl-style disaster. It says the massive amount of energy produced by these reactors could be used to sustain human outposts on other worlds and can cut the travel time to Mars in half. Many space exploration problems require that high-density power be available at all times, and there's a class of such problems for which nuclear power is the preferred, if not only, option. Rex Geveden, former NASA Associate Administrator and CEO of the power generation company BWX Technologies, told the NASA National Space Council in August. Geveden's sentiments were echoed by NASA Administrator Jim Brizendine, who calls nuclear propulsion a game changer and told Vice President Mike Pence that using fission reactors in space is an amazing opportunity that the United States should take advantage of. I mean, why not? It's not the first time NASA's flirted with the nuclear rocket. In the 1960s, the government developed several nuclear reactor engines that produce propulsion much more efficiently than conventional chemical rocket engines. NASA started scheming about a permanent lunar base and first crewed missions to Mars by the early 80s. Sound familiar? But as with so many NASA projects, nuclear rocket engines soon fell out of favor, and the office in charge shut them down. There were technical hurdles too, of course. While the concept of nuclear rocket engines is simple enough, the reactor brings hydrogen to blistering temperatures, and the gas is expelled through a nozzle. Designing reactors that could withstand their own heat was not. Earthbound fission reactors operate at around 600 degrees Fahrenheit. The reactors used in rocket engines must be cranked to more than 4,000 degrees Fahrenheit. Damn, that's hot, dude. Now, for the last decade, Emmerich and his team of engineers have been simulating the extreme conditions inside a nuclear rocket engine at the Marshall Space Flight Center. Instead of triggering a fission reaction, they use large amounts of electricity, enough to meet the power needs of several hundred average American homes, to heat the fuel cell several thousand degrees. Think of it like a big microwave oven, Emmerich says, called entries for a nuclear thermal rocket element environmental simulator. Get a hold of that, dude. They have an acronym for everything. It's unbelievable.
Oh, Polly, don't do that to me. He says we're never going to get to Mars. Come on, dude.
Yeah, you're going to break Kev's heart. I've
even just tweeted the big man, say, come on, get on with the show. You know, we know you love the show, but we want to see your rocket. I was going to say a shiny phallic thing, but I thought better not.
It says entries has been the backbone of NASA's quiet return to nuclear propulsion. Emmerich and his team used the simulator's large chamber to study how materials react to extreme heat without incurring the costs of dangers of a full nuclear engine, as NASA did in the 1960s. A few years after entries came online, NASA folded into a larger program to study how nuclear engines could be integrated with a space launch system, the agency's next-generation heavy-lift launch rocket. The early programs laid the foundation for a nuclear rocket engine. NASA's next step was to develop the hardware needed to take the engine from theory to reality. So in 2017, NASA awarded BWX Technologies a 3-year, $19 million contract to develop the fuel and reactor components necessary for a nuclear engine. The following year, Congress earmarked $100 million in NASA's budget for the development of nuclear propulsion technologies. And this year, Congress decided to boost and add another $125 million to the nuclear project. So a lot of money being put into this.
I think this is when the aliens turn up en masse. This is when they go, no, you're not coming out into our playground with your nuclear toys. This is a no-no. Okay.
Yeah. It says, but before nuclear rocket engines get its first flight, NASA needs to overhaul its regulations on launching nuclear materials. In August, the White House issued a memo that tasked NASA with developing safety protocols for operating nuclear reactors in space.
There's an incoming. There's an incoming. Come on, Brian, don't let us down, man.
Off to bang Sophia, read your own messages, Brian.
DJ, you're a rare tonic. You truly
I'll
are,
tell
man.
you what, man, that is just fantastic.
Brilliant. I love this audience, man. They're the best.
Me too. It says once they've adopted these safety protocols by NASA, the stage will be set for the first flight of a nuclear engine as soon as 2024, which just happens to coincide with Trump's deadline to return American astronauts to the moon. Maybe this time they'll be hitching it on a nuclear rocket. Get you some, Kev. Get you some nuclear fission.
Oh, I'm all for it, dude. The more people that can get into space, the more people that can get up there and see the curve, the better, in my opinion, dude. That's
See the curve.
Yeah, that's as far as I'm going with that.
We'll know once and for all, Kev. We'll know once and for all. Is it flat or is it round?
Oh, dude, I was devastated yesterday, man. I was telling Scott, one of my favourite boxers, he's gone down that road, dude.
Oh, come now.
Yeah.
Punch drunk.
Carl Froch. That's exactly what Scott said. He's like, see, that's what bangs to the head can do to you.
Yeah, so that's what happens when you get punched in the head too many times, man.
Man, yeah, it must be these people that are flat earthers. That must be what happens. Is some kind of trauma to the head. I hate to say it, but I don't know what else to attribute it to.
It affects the part of the brain that is able to make out curves.
Spheres.
Oh, you boys.
All circles look two-dimensional.
You boys. Oh, come on, Elon. You know
what do you think about the possibility of
He's in
setting
the back
up
doing peyote before he goes on the air.
What about setting up something on the moon to where they can produce nuclear rockets and nuclear propulsion on the moon, and we don't have to worry about any of this stuff affecting Earth because it's all being produced on the moon, right?
No, I was asking somebody as well, right? Because they're talking helium-3 up there. That's like the one big asset commodity that they could go after up there. That's what I hear too. What can you even use helium-3 for? Is there some way we could make a helium-3 propulsion system? I mean, that way you're not having to escape the gravity. You're not having to escape the atmosphere, anything like that. You know, you're not going to need that massive kind of burst.
Yeah, obviously, if they could figure out how to utilize the resources of the moons to create some kind of a propulsion system, that would be huge. You know, that'd be a.
I still think it would be cool. I still think it would be cool if it was like the new season of Star Trek. And I don't know if you've seen that, Joe, but that's where they've got the mycelium network that is throughout the universe. And when they are able to harness that, because all of these spores are quantum entangled, then you're able to jump from here to absolutely anywhere, dude, because they're all...
How do you like that, man? I mean, that's just freaking unbelievable.
And wouldn't it be cool, though, if there was some kind of quantum field, some field of something, I don't know, that we could manipulate in that way? Because that would then... Yeah, that would give... But, Scott, that would open the door to craft coming here, if they've managed to manipulate that.
I think there is. I think there's some underlying... like you said, like a quantum field or something that is completely universal that is quantum, there's quantum entanglement, so everything's connected at some level. It's just a matter of figuring out what it is and how to utilize it, right? But there has to be some kind of a underlying thing. I don't know.
Well, John in the chat room, he's got a different take from me. I usually say it's hemorrhoid shaped, but John he's got a good point here. He says it might be boob shaped, hence Mother Earth.
Oh, could be.
I like that.
I like that.
Yeah.
I
quite like that, actually. Yes, mammary shaped. There you go. We like that. What's the brain saying, Joe? Come on, give us the download
It's not
from
what
the
she's
brain.
saying. It's what I'm saying. I'm gonna go get me some boobies later.
No, we've started them. We've started them.
But you did.
But we don't
John.
have long left. So where are we going to go before
Thanks, John.
Where are we going to go? Because Elon Musk is waiting for us to finish.
I gotta get going here soon.
Yeah, I know. But see if we get off of this, right?
Yeah.
And that stream starts the minute we get off. Now, then I'm going to freak out because then my ego is going to tell me, of course he was watching the stream, Kev.
That's
What do you think he
exactly
was
what
doing?
he's doing. So your ego has to freak out. Hello, Elon. We love you long time.
Oh, hold on.
Oh
here we
my word! Look at that. That looks like
we got an incoming coming in.
Yeah, we do. But that looks like something you can buy in Ann Summers or Victoria's Secret, is it?
Hey guys, you are the three connoisseurs. Love the bunny. Kev cracked me up last night.
Oh, the bunny will be back. Julotica. I like that name. There he is.
Hey, put some sound on.
I actually wasn't expecting it to be this windy. Hopefully you can actually hear what I'm saying. Okay, great.
Because when you see that shadow dude on the Kev Baker show, it was brilliant.
So this is I think the most inspiring thing that I've ever seen, and I'd just like to thank the SpaceX team and the suppliers and.
Can I just ask though? If I was a billionaire unveiling my new shiny rocket, would I not have done it like in daylight when you could see it, or has he got some kind of like sheath that he's going to pull off in a minute?
That gets strapped to a Falcon Heavy, and gets launched into space.
But you know what I'm saying, though, dude. You know what I'm saying, though.
And then it's got some big old engines on it.
People of Boca Chica and Brownsville, thank you for your support, and just like, wow, what an incredible job by such a great team to build this incredible vehicle. So it's like, first of all, I want to start with that. So I'm just so proud to work with such a great team, and it's really ripping here.
Oh, how funny would it be? How funny would it?
He's probably worried about it 'cause it's made of Reynolds wrap.
Watching this online, it is like it is really windy. So the point of this this presentation and this event is really there are two elements to it. One is to inspire the public, get people excited about our future in space, and get people fired up about the future. There are so many things to worry about, so many things to be concerned about. There are many troubles in the world, of course, and these are important, and we need to solve them.
But if we can, I've got the ultimate thing here to get you out of here.
But we also need things
to get out of here
that make us excited to be alive, that make us glad to wake up in the morning and be fired up about the future and think, yeah, the future's going to be great.
We have an escape pod in case we have to get out of here.
Boobs, they're worth waking up to in the morning.
You know, and this space exploration is one of those things. And becoming a spacefaring civilization, being out there among the stars, this is one of the things that I know makes me glad to be alive. I think it makes many people glad to be alive.
That guy that like owns the Asgardia CubeSat, he's sitting crying and his.
Oh, he is right now.
He is,
like,
isn't he?
Oh my God.
Him and Big Opic, they're sitting there crying their eyes out.
It's one of the best things.
And we're not going to stay too much longer, folks. I know Joe's got to get going, Scott's got to get going and things, but we'll just get
and
a couple more minutes.
There's really we're faced with a choice. Which future do you want? Do you want the future where we become a spacefaring civilization and are in many worlds?
Yeah, please.
And
out there
glands.
among the stars, or one where we are forever confined to Earth? And I say it is the first. And I hope you agree with me. Yeah.
Go,
yeah.
Go.
You hear that?
So,
he was watching us.
Yeah, he was.
So the critical breakthrough that's needed for us to become a spacefaring civilization is to make space travel like air travel. So With air travel, when you fly a plane, you fly that plane many times. I mean, the risk of stating the obvious, it really.
Elon, I know they're probably a tough crowd, but I'm sure they know what an aircraft is.
Almost any mode of transport, whether it's a plane, a car, a horse, a bicycle, is reusable. You use that mode of transport many times. And if you had to get a new plane every time you flew somewhere, and even have 2 planes for a return journey, very few people could afford to fly. Or if you could use a car only once, very few people could afford to drive a car. So the critical breakthrough that's necessary is a rapidly reusable orbital rocket. This is basically the holy grail of space. And the fundamental thing that's required. And it is a very hard thing to do. It's only barely possible with the physics of Earth. I mean, if Earth's gravity was a little heavier, it would be impossible. And if Earth's gravity was a little lighter, it would be quite easy.
You see, that suggests to me that we were always meant to make it out of here at some stage, Joe. Or else, you know, the construct wouldn't allow for us to escape
perhaps.
the atmosphere.
Who knows, Kev?
Yeah.
Hey, why not? If you don't mind, I'd like to get a seat on that rocket, that tinfoil.
Me, you, and Scott, front row.
Man, I would love it.
Oh, big time, dude.
So we're really right on the cusp of what is physically possible. So in order to create a rapidly reusable rocket and fully reusable orbital rocket, you have to have engines
the Woo crew
that have incredibly high specific impulse, that essentially are
Chewie's going to wave
efficient.
out the window in a minute.
You have a structure that is also incredibly mass efficient. And then that all needs to come back.
Oh, hang on now.
Guy right there.
Gets into something better in a minute. Here we go.
1. Lift off.
Stage separation.
How cool is that?
Separation confirmed.
Love it. Look at that curve.
So Falcon 1, we thought...
Triggering people around the world.
Good old Falcon 1. I mean, we started off, we were very naive. In fact, the reason it's September 28th was September. This is the 11th anniversary of the first time SpaceX reached orbit. So 11 years ago today, SpaceX made orbit for the first time.
That's pretty good going, eh? Pretty good going, though, eh?
11 years, and look at them now.
And it was actually our 4th launch. And if that launch had not succeeded, SpaceX, that would have been the end of SpaceX. That was all. I'd run out of money. There were no more investors, and that would have been it. So if that 4th launch had not succeeded, that would have been curtains. But fortunately, fate smiled on us that day, and we made it to orbit. And I have great respect for anyone who makes it to orbit. That was a hard thing.
Yeah, no doubt.
And then
come on, clap.
We were very naive, obviously very naive on many levels back then, because we did actually try to.
They're a tough crowd, guys. They're a tough crowd.
Dude, it is a tough crowd. Well, he's a horrible because he stutters a lot.
And we thought, okay, we'll just pop the parachute when it comes back into the atmosphere, and then it'll land somewhere in the ocean. We'll go fish it out of the ocean with a boat. This does not work. So, and I actually remember getting mad at the parachute supplier. Like, yeah, your parachute didn't work. I'm like, no, it wasn't their fault. When the rocket comes in from space, it's coming in, that first stage is coming in like, Mach 10 to 12, and it hits the atmosphere like it's a concrete wall. And
Scott,
boom.
can you imagine doing that, like technology behind bringing that in and landing it?
Carefully, you have to have aerodynamic surfaces.
In it.
I mentioned, hey, Temple in the chat made an excellent observation. The Starship is oddly shaped like a traffic cone.
Oh, we can definitely have fun on Photoshop with that.
To slow it down, you've got to guide it through the atmosphere, and then do a propulsive landing.
Look at that.
This took us many attempts, and we actually.
That's a weird-looking spaceship, isn't it?
You know what? It reminds me of the representation of the spaceships from like back in the 30s.
Yeah.
The old chrome style spaceships from back in the day. You know what I mean? Or from Yeah, it's like a throwback to that design.
This is Grasshopper. That's actually Falcon 9. It's hard to tell the scale, but that's a Falcon 9 size booster with one engine, and big legs with giant shock absorbers, because we didn't know what the heck we were doing. Now, amazingly, Grasshopper had zero crashes. Grasshopper is still alive.
Wow. I tell you folks, we're going to be out in those stars soon. Won't be in my lifetime, but it's coming. It's coming.
The cows are confused.
That's some machine. Isn't it?
I remember back when they were testing all of that, and it was just like, wow, you know. It's cool, you know. He said that the Grasshopper never had a crash.
Yeah, they've still got it going. Still going now.
Yeah.
That's just, I mean, that. See, even to think of that, let alone like try and engineer it. I don't know.
So that was they have Falcon 1. What you saw there was a Falcon 9 size vehicle, and then what's really kind of hard to grasp at a visceral level is that this giant ship will do the same thing that Grasshopper did. So this thing is going to take off, fly to 65,000 feet, about 20 kilometers,
and then come back
and land in about 1 to 2 months.
And
so
you know that's also crazy. Really isn't that also the way that going back to what I said, like the way that they used to represent rockets, like in the 30s and cartoons and stuff. Remember, they landed the way that SpaceX is landing rockets.
Yeah.
Remember, you look at old Bugs Bunny cartoons and stuff, and the way they represented the rockets coming down. You know, Marvin the Martian. They come down and they land just like they do. You know, just like SpaceX is landing rockets. So it's like they had that vision a long time ago.
Wow, isn't that interesting?
That was the way rocket travel was going to be, and now it's finally coming to fruition. And I was telling Kev Joe, if you look at that ship, right, even the design of it, isn't it like a throwback to the 30s? The chrome,
totally, like what you see in those like all of those old movies and like the Martian invasions and and
they all represented the rockets coming down, you know, with their own, you know, with their own rocket propulsion and landing, you know, doing a vertical landing just like SpaceX is doing now. It's just very interesting how it all seems to have come full circle. You know what I mean?
Now Joda has to depart, so Scott, don't panic, right? I'll resize your camera quickly. And we'll go for another 2 minutes, 3 minutes. We'll see how we get on with this, because I don't want to leave it halfway. So, Joe, Jerry goes, that's what Joe does, folks. That's literally what Joe does. He doesn't say goodbye. He just goes. He's the most, he's the most arrogant streamer in the world. Ignorant? Yeah, ignorant. That's it. There we go. I'll pull this down here. Yeah, it shouldn't be too much longer, then we'll let you all get back to your day. But I just want to see how this goes. It'd be silly to leave it like halfway through, and I'll get your chin off of there, Scott. There we go.
There we go.
It's going to be pretty epic to see that thing take off and come back. And then, hopefully, Yeah, it's wild.
There's going to be people saying that's a UFO behind it. See it?
So, now this is.
It's the helicopter that's filming it, but don't let that get in the way of a good secure Team 10 video.
New approach.
It's probably not even a helicopter. It's probably a drone.
Drone, yeah.
Controlling a rocket, much more akin to a skydiver than a plane. But I'll talk about that later. So, going from Falcon 1 to Falcon 9 to Falcon Heavy, which we launched. Actually, the first launch of Falcon Heavy was only February of last year. So it's only been about 1.5 years since the first Falcon Heavy launch, when we did 2 side-by-side booster landings. And I always like this video that was done by my friend Jonah.
It's a god-awful small affair.
Yeah, well, we'll turn that down, because that's going to get hit with a nice little copyright claim, that tune for sure. Oh, this is the one that caused so much controversy, right? I think the car went up there, Scott, but I'm a space believer.
Yes. Yeah, I think the car went up there as well, you know.
And listen, if people think it didn't, that's okay. Me and Scott aren't going to fall out with you. I mean, we're just in the camp that we think what we see, what we were told is what we got.
If they have the ability to launch huge payloads, you know, satellites for, you know, why wouldn't they be able to launch a car, you know?
And if they were going to fake it, wouldn't they just say they got it right? Because, in fact, they got it wrong because it's a way out into the deep solar system now, right?
Yeah, they did. They got the you know, yeah, they did. They kind of got the...
Because it was meant to be in orbit around Mars for when he gets there.
And I think it's going to overshoot Mars and then get flung.
Dang. I remember that.
Yeah, I do too.
It wasn't that long ago, right enough. It's not like it was, splashdown. Look at that. Dang.
It's fake, Kev. You can see that it's too crystal clear.
That's what he said, though, wasn't it? He said himself, you know, people are going to think this is fake because... What was it he said about it being fake again?
He said because it looks too good.
Yeah, that was it. Yeah. Look at that.
And that was cool.
That's
the
like
dual
synchronized landings.
When they came in, and you heard the sonic booms, and then they landed, that was just like so cool.
Made on Earth by humans. I like that.
Maybe what if the you know, this supposed wrong, you know, where they got it wrong and it was supposed to go around. What if it wasn't wrong? What if they do want to send that thing into interstellar space?
Who knows? Exactly, Scott. That's a good point. End of the day, I do think that car was in there and that's out there somewhere now. And I know people will contest that. And you know what? There's no way for either of us to convince the other half of the debate. So if you do, you do. You don't, you don't.
I never thought that would happen, actually. Glad that it did. Yeah.
He's thinking to himself, damn, I left a good pipe in that glove box. I like that one, see?
See?
Yeah, it's funny, like the you know, some people wonder, like, why do we have the roadster with the astronaut, you know, Starman? And it actually just came from a discussion of my friend Jonas. I was at in his kitchen, and I was like, you know, normally when they do a rocket launch, they launch a rocket concrete, but that doesn't sound very inspiring. So, what do you think the most sort of fun thing is that we could launch? And he was like, well, why don't you just launch a Tesla? And that's a great idea.
So I can guarantee you with his awkwardness that he's showing, he's always awkward. There's already going to be people tweeting out there about the fact that he's like a clone, he's an alien, he's a robot. Why is it? Is it because of his money, Scott, that he causes so much, not controversy, but he's one of these characters that you either love him or you hate him, right?
It's because he has all this money, but his mindset is like totally different than any other kind of like billionaire. You know what I mean? He's sort of a rogue kind of guy. You know what I mean? He doesn't
conform.
He doesn't conform to that sort of that kind of idea of, or you know, what people think about a billionaire. You know what I mean? So, and I'm sure even among his peers, you know, fellow billionaires, he's kind of an outcast if you think about it, right? You know, but they have to show him respect because look at what he's achieved, you know? So it's kind of like this weird thing to where they respect him greatly, but they're also like, you know, he's out there, you know, he because he thinks so outside of the box on things that, yeah, definitely. It's just
yeah, he's one of these visionaries, different way of processing, thinking, looking at the world. You know, he looks at things, sees the problem, and wants to fix it, and finds unique ways that none of us would come up with, right?
And the thing is that, you know, he's a super smart guy, right?
Yeah.
I mean, he's this savant level kind of thinking, and then I think also what turns a lot of people off is kind of his awkwardness, right? His awkward social skills. I mean, as you can see, he's really not a very good speaker, you know, and that's just because that's not how he's wired. You know, he's not wired to sit there and give these speeches that wow the crowd and all of that. He's wired technically. He's technical minded, and he's thinking of things in that way. And so, I mean, I maybe you could even make an argument that he's on the spectrum, right?
I think.
Maybe
I mean, I would personally. And again, that's not a criticism. It's just it is what it is. But it would explain that different way of seeing the world, almost processing information.
Exactly. Because I guarantee that if you were to yank Nikola Tesla out of his time period and drop him here, they would probably say that he has autism.
Yep.
Right. I think a lot of these savant level genius types, they would classify them as having some kind of, you know, being on the autism spectrum. And so, you know, I think that's what you're seeing with Elon. That's why he's so, you know, he's quirky and he doesn't have very good social skills, but when he puts his mind to something and he's thinking about something technically, you know, he goes all the way.
Remember Rogan? He was saying to Rogan that even as a child, he couldn't quieten his head down. He couldn't, like, even when he was going to bed at night, it was just his head was constant. It was just always going on. He can't quieten it.
Yeah, he can't turn it off.
Nope.
That's the thing. He can't turn it off. And you got to wonder, you know, what if it's like, you know, we talk about the Akashic records or this, you know, the I don't know, you know, there's a bunch of different names for it, right? Like the
quantum
ether or whatever.
field, the ether, yeah, the Akashic records, that's a common one.
What if his brain is just opened up to that and he's just constantly getting a flood of information and he has no way of controlling it? You know what I mean? There's no way he can stop it. And you know, with his interview he did with Rogan, he almost, the way he sounded, like it was almost like a curse to him.
Yeah,
you know what I mean?
Yeah, it wasn't. Yeah, exactly.
He wasn't really like, I'm happy I have this ability or anything like that. He's almost like, you know, sometimes, man, I want to shut this off.
Yeah.
Because remember, he was very, very interested when Rogan was telling him about
the deprivation tank.
Yeah, the deprivation tank and all of that stuff. He was like, I'm gonna have to look, because he like wants to shut it down. We've watched that
too often, Scott. We've definitely watched that shit too often, man. Seriously. Here we go.
Yeah.
Yeah. And then another friend went, she said, why don't you put a tiny Tesla on the dashboard? So we put a tiny Tesla on the dashboard with a tiny Starman in the tiny Tesla. This is just to confuse the aliens in the future. They were like, what the heck is this? So
imagine that, though. If we detect something coming towards the planet and it's something that looks like a car with a dude driving it, we would shite ourselves. We'd be blowing missiles at it, man.
Yeah, you know, just want something to capture the imagination, get people excited about space. So let's see, Starship. So this is, well, you can really see it right there, obviously. There's the picture, more rendering. It's about 150, about 50 meters.
Whoa.
So, you know, sort of 165 feet or so.
Now that finished model, although that's a CGI, so that looks good.
The ship.
Yeah,
I think.
Yeah, I'm telling you, and it has that retro chrome look to it, man. That old kind of 30s.
I wish it was.
Looks like a bullet, dude.
The ship dry mass would be approximately 120 tons. The initial Mark 1 prototype is closer to 200 tons, and in series production, I think it'll probably be about 120 tons. If we get really lucky, it might get down to 110.
You see the way he's just stripping the numbers off that there, man? So, make it smaller, get it down.
But in terms of its usefulness, it'll be able to do about 150 tons with full reusability to orbit and back. So this is a very big number for full reusability. The very initial versions we're confident will do over 100 tons, but I think there's a clear path to 150 tons. And the cost of a fully reusable system is basically
you know
the
that
cost
right
of the
now,
propellant.
right now he's crunching the numbers in his head. All the calculations are going through. He's like, I think we can get it. We can get it to 150 tons. We can do this. And he's thinking about ways of stripping weight and getting more aerodynamics and all of this stuff. It's wild, you know.
Exactly.
You got to wonder what's going through his mind when he's thinking about all of this, when he's presenting it. You know,
I think it's like is it the John Nash, the film about him, Beautiful Mind? I think it's try to think who plays the part. But that film, it depicts him almost seeing the equations and things like that, Scott, like the math and everything. Like it's out there in front of him. He's just seeing it everywhere. I imagine that's the kind of thing that goes on in his head, right? Because, I mean, he was one of the dudes that set up PayPal to start with, wasn't he? That's basically where he made his fortune, was it not?
Yeah, he was like a co-founder of
Yep.
PayPal. And that kind of got him his basically the funds he needed to go on and do other things, you know.
Yep. We'll watch another couple of minutes of this, folks, then we'll let you get going, because that'll be 2 hours we've been on then. And Lothar's in there, I bet. Yep, no. I thought he was going to say it was the Masons that built it. Here we go.
3.5 tons of oxygen for every 1 ton of fuel.
And it does look like something you would buy out of Victoria's Secret. It does. I get that, folks. That looks like Love Me Long Time $5. In fact, you don't even need me if you've got one of them at home, right?
Rather than less. So, Merlin or the Falcon architecture is about 2.5 tons of oxygen for every 1 ton of fuel. This is 3.5 tons of oxygen for every 1 ton of fuel. So when this ascends, it's really mostly liquid oxygen. Because when you get to vacuum, there's no air, basically. So, yeah. Next slide.
Yeah. He had a thought. He's seen an equation flying through his head then.
Earlier I was talking about how Starship enters and how it's controlled. It's quite different from anything else. It's really falling. And so we're doing it.
Yep, Norma saved my skin there. It was Russell Crowe in A Beautiful Mind. Thanks for that.
As opposed to create drag instead of lift. It's really the opposite of an aircraft. You want the most amount of drag that you can produce. And you want some lift, especially when you're in the upper atmosphere, mostly so that you can control the mass.
Well, we've seen this thing. We're going to start to wrap it up now, folks, but I'll drop a link for that live stream for any of you in there that wants to go and check that out. And I know Elon Musk, you're either going to love him, you're going to hate him. Me, I don't need to say what camp I'm in. But again, he just splits the room, dude. He just totally does. See if there's anything else cool on here.
Go back just a little bit. It showed kind of how it was landing.
A rocket right now.
Keep...
So we have the 3 sea level. In fact, that's a picture of just inside that skirt. That's what it looks like.
Don't worry about it. Don't worry about it. It was somewhere.
The 3 sea level Raptor engines.
Right there. Yeah.
Look better with the hand? Okay.
He's loving it, isn't he? Yeah, look at that.
It'll look totally nuts to see that thing.
Look at that, my giant phallic symbol just cruising down
That's
there.
That's what he said. He said it's going to look totally nuts when that thing lands. I bet it does look.
If it lands, oh man! And we were talking. I don't know if it was me and you, but we were talking about the James Webb Telescope just recently, and that got transported now. That's been moved from where it was been built to one of the NASA places. And I tell you, you see the maneuvers they had, like the operation. It was like some kind of military operation to get this thing moved, Scott. And all the time you could see a couple of these mirrors on it. They've been built in a place that's like, I don't know, it's the cleanest place on Earth. And all I'm thinking is, one bit of dust, just one bit of dust in this whole, like, moving it around or getting it into space. And that telescope that they've spent billions on, the one that's going to open up all the exoplanets and everything else, it's going to be goose, dude. And then when it gets up there, it's going to be flying at 40,000 miles an hour, and it's got to unfold, it's got to put out a solar sail. Yeah, exactly.
It's like the Hubble telescope. They messed up on the production of the lens, like the mirror, you know.
It was all kind
and
of it was out of focus kind of thing.
Yeah, once they got it up there, it was all blurry images, and they were like, "Oh, what the hell?" You know, and so they had to send the crew back, up there to repair it. So
see if it's got any of this. Just before we go, because they moved it today to NASA. See if it's in here. Yeah, there it is. There. Just play bits. Show you this thing. Look, there it is. There. Look, the big mirrors on it and everything. And then it goes into this big sealed thing here, like a big coffin.
That whole building they're in, they're pumping air out of it.
Yep.
They're pumping air out of that building. That way, no dust particles
And then
are
look
even.
you've got the whole kind of the police operation taking it down to one of these giant transporters, dude. What an operation to get this thing to where it's going. Do you know what I mean? Can I suggest something? Next time, why don't you just build it on site? You know, you've got enough money to be building telescopes. Maybe you could just build a new hangar closer to where you're actually going to be launching this from. It's just a thought, Scott. Just a little thought. So yeah. There it is, and that's it going to NASA's. Hey, that's where I got Johnson Space Center. That's why it was so fresh in my mind earlier on, because I'd been watching that today. But I'm excited about that. Totally excited, because that's the kind of thing that's going to find more exoplanets, Scotty, and dare I say it, it's going to be able to tell us if there's the right conditions for life as we know it. We both have spoken in the past about life can take form, shape anywhere, okay? Probably places we couldn't even imagine. But again, it's exciting. If you're into space, it's exciting. And I know nowadays space isn't as popular as it used to be. I get that, and I'm cool with that. But I'm definitely still a little astronaut want to be, Scotty boy.
I think it's cool. I really do. I like the idea of getting everyone excited for space travel.
Yep.
Just the thought of taking humanity beyond, and working towards being a multi-planet spacefaring civilization, and eventually, maybe even figuring out, let's get beyond our solar system. That way, when the sun supernovas we can still, our progeny will live on. I think it's just a cool thing. I like it.
I think we should be going out there, and isn't that what humans have always done? Whether it's sailing a ship over the horizon to go and look for new land, mastering air flight itself, the Wright brothers and everything else. And I get it. You can go back and look at the Vermanas. I'm talking about our progression, And then Here we are now today. 11 months ago, they started testing on this thing, or 11 years ago, sorry. They started SpaceX, and now here they are. Basically,
that's what we're really good at. It's what humans are really good at is...
Tommy Gunn says, would I go to space if I had the opportunity to? If I was back in my prime, man, and kicking and fully fit, you better believe it, dude. Better believe it. Yep.
I don't even care if I'm not fully fit. Launch me. Just launch me, man.
Do it.
Take
I'm out
me
of
up
here.
there.
Exactly. I mean, I do. I don't know. I think it's, me personally, I think it's the natural order of things. As a civilization to be, reaching out. And if we can get out there, we should be going out there. Knowing humans, though, will probably want to conquer places and take them over for our own bloody greed. But that's another bridge we can cross when we come to it. Or maybe a wormhole we can cross, Scott, since we're talking space here, right? But folks, we're out of time. And tomorrow, I'm going to be doing a members-only chat, Ask Me Anything stream at 5 p.m., I think. Well, round about 5. Keep an eye on the community tab. I'll put the live stream announcement up early in the day. It's going to be about 5 p.m.-ish in the UK, and that's midday over on the East Coast and 9 a.m. on the West Coast. I know that's early over there, but I'm not going to be doing them the same time every week. So that way, even people in Australia and that side of the date line We can cater for everyone. And anyone will be able to come and watch, but only people that are members of the channel will be will get to ask me anything. And there's, it's like it says on the tin, you can ask me anything. But I warn you all now, if it comes to the shape of the planet and things, it's not going to be a long answer because I'm not that way inclined. And I don't mind what shape people think it is. I just don't see the point in going around shouting about it and telling everyone about it. It's just the way I roll, Scott. I've never woke up any morning, pre or post flat Earth theory, thinking to myself, I need to know the shape. I need to know what shape of this thing are we on. It wouldn't have made any of my bills go away. It wouldn't have changed my day up or down. I can't see the benefit of hiding the shape of the thing in the first place. So it just doesn't interest me, dude.
No, it's a ridiculous thing that wastes a lot of people's time.
Yeah, I mean, you're not going to be able to convince the ones that think it is flat, and the flat ones ain't going to be able to convince the ones that think it's round. So it's just like banging your head off a wall, and I don't do banging my head off a wall.
I always say, hey, look, say it was proven that the Earth was flat. How does that change anything that's going on right now on this planet? How does that change? Does it do
some kid in Africa is going to go, whoa,
yeah,
that's my thirst gone away then?
Do starving kids in Africa magically get fed? Does that stop the elites from doing anything? Does that stop all of the crap going on all over the place? It's a pointless thing that it just wastes people's time. That's all it does.
And that will be the last word that you'll ever hear about any of it right here on the Weekend Shenanigans stream. So, Scott, I've had a blast as usual. We've been paranormal, bit of SpaceX. Can't beat it, dude. Tomorrow, who knows where we'll go. We'll be back for the Sunday stream. We'll try and dig up some, will we go like crazy criminals and weird and fantastically...
Yeah, I'll try to dig up just some weird, random...
The kind of things you ain't going to hear anywhere. We'll call tomorrow's stream, When Did This Become a Thing? Yeah.
I do have an article we'll talk about tomorrow. Because there's been a lot of discussion about the bowl cut.
Yes, there has.
It's making a comeback.
Oh, people are doing it as like a protest thing?
No, it's making a comeback as just a hairstyle, I guess. It's kind of a,
It was never a cool hairstyle the first time round in the medieval times. You know what I mean?
Yeah, so...
We all seen me with the bowl cut last night. I ain't going back to the bowl cut for nobody. Oh,
and hello, Ryan. Ryan Gable just popped.
Mr. Gable, indeed. And there's a little birdie told me that in the month of October, myself and Ryan, and I'm hoping Scott will make time to join forces yet again. Probably dip our toe back into the world of weird and creepy pop stars.
But before you go, just take a little look on YouTube. You don't have to play the video because of copyright or whatever. But just the look of Billie Eilish was on.
Billie Eilish?
Yes, was on the Tonight Show, and she's looking in rare form.
Oh yeah, nice one there. Look, she's looking in cool form there as well. Wear like wings and stuff on.
Yeah, she's wearing all black and
just her here.
Yeah,
wear green hair and things
too. Yeah, just very creepy.
That there looks creepy as heck. And I'm not going to play it Vivo or Savage. Savage.
All the good girls go to hell. Oh, isn't that nice?
She really does our work for us in the end of the day. She doesn't make it hard, this one,
That's your very positive, uplifting, poppy music pop music that's out today.
Yeah, the girl that drinks black goo and cries black tears. Yeah. Lovely kid. Yeah. You reckon she should do a video with Greta?
Oh, she probably will, because in that Tonight Show interview, because I was like, okay, I'm gonna watch this and see. Her, because she's going on world tour. It's going to be the green world tour. That's why she had green in her hair. It's going to be the most green world tour. There's going to be no plastic straws on the world tour. All the
just like expensive jets that burn jet fuel and things. But we don't mention that. That's okay.
Yeah. So,
dang, dude. And there's Ryan in the chat room. He's saying, I'm analysing that video Tuesday this week. Well, Ryan, you know, we have to hook up then after that. She comes out of black goo and watches the world burn as she becomes the devil. You have got to be crapping me, dude. You have got to be.
After the show, we're going to have to kind of skim through that, Kev.
Yeah, we are. Yeah, definitely. So, folks, had a blast again. Love coming here, hanging out with Scotty, hanging out with all of you. Ryan, we definitely have to get together soon, man. Me, you, Scotty. We'll knock it out the park again. Especially if this video is what you've just kind of teased us with there. Black goo, turning into the devil, watching the world explode. She is the ultimate black pillar, Scott. She's music for a black pillar, right?
You know what? Her attitude now is kind of reminding me of Poppy's tube. We're like...
What's she been up to? What's she been up to anyway?
Well, yeah, I don't even know what Poppy's been up to, but this whole kind of like
1 month ago.
Hatred of.
Oh, what? Whoa.
Ooh.
Right, I got rid of it in
yeah, this
time,
whole
dude.
like humans need to go, and we're bad, and.
I thought her song was called Concrete. It's concrete. But... yeah, there's a definite traffic cone meme going on in this stream. That's all I can say. But folks, that's 2 hours. That's over 2 hours. I tell you, it's only meant to be 90 minutes. That Elon Musk, he put us all wrong. So we'll be back tomorrow. Can't tell you what we'll be getting into because we haven't started looking yet. But thanks to everyone for tuning in. Thanks to people that dropped a super chat. And like I say, I'll be back tomorrow for an Ask Me Anything. Within reason, folks. Within reason. So until then, we will leave you with some kicking tunes, and we are out of here.
Later.
Turn that down a bit before I blast people's eardrums out.